What is up, guys? Welcome to the Faded Blue Line. We are starting this week. We are starting our new schedule, which was posted last week. Let me go ahead and post it up again for you now, just as a reminder. New schedule: Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Central Standard, Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard. We will be sticking to this, and if we have any special things that pop up, any kind of new news or anything that needs to be talked about in a quick fashion, I might do a special episode or something like that. And I've also been asked to be on some other podcasts. So I am your host, Brandon Roberts, host of the Faded Blue Line. I am the author of Evading Honesty and creator of the Swipe and Swap system. So let me pop that advertisement off. Real quick, before we get any further, for those who are watching, we had a bolo pop up on our Discord. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen. If you guys can, if you're available to look for this guy, let me pop this thing up in my big screen here. We're looking for Robert Kenneth Martin, white male, 5'10", 210 pounds, out of South Carolina. Officer safety bolo. So be careful if you run into this guy. Apparently he cut off his ankle monitor and is believed to be armed with a Glock 30, which is a .45 caliber, a Taurus G3 and an AR-15 pistol, and he's apparently pretty violent. So just keep an eye open for this guy. He apparently is on the loose in South Carolina, and it was one of the bolos on the Discord. So just showing that right away, right off the beginning. Peter Butler says, "What's up?" in the chat. What's going on, man? Appreciate you joining us today. Looks like we got quite a few of you guys. So as we move forward here real quick at the beginning of the show, I'll just go ahead and give it to you guys. If you are interested in taking Swipe and Swap on OSS First, here's the discount code, good until December 8th. So make sure you get on there, use that code, save money, get some good training, get some training hours, get your agency to pay for it, whatever you need. By all means, get some money off. We all want that. Sorry, my phone is making noise. I forgot to mute that. Let me get that muted for you guys. Alright. And if you missed that discount code, it'll be back up later on. Alright, so again, look for that bolo we sent out, discount code. Let's go to police news. We seem to start the episode with all of that, or with police news every episode. So, West Virginia, cop shot in the face in Charleston, West Virginia, one suspect in custody. Good thing that suspect was taken into custody, and we hope the officer is okay. But it says he was shot in the face. Not good. Alright, let's see. Apparently a pretty prominent Instagram model or whatnot out of the Houston area was found dead today here in Texas on the side of a road. Let's see if we can get some information on that real quick. They're saying foul play is not being ruled out. Well, duh. So her name is Alexis Sharkey, and she is 26 years old, and they found her naked body beside a roadway in Houston. So, Instagram model found dead. Might have had a stalker issue. Let's see here. What else we got in the news? New statistics released by the Fraternal Order of Police, the FOP, say 283 law enforcement officers have been shot so far this year, 44 of them fatally. So we've had a pretty considerable amount of officers killed this year and shot, and that's not good. The violence against law enforcement seems to be growing by the day, and we don't like that. So let's see here. Ex-Hawaii prosecutor and police chief get prison for corruption, 13 years. So they were corrupt. They're going to prison, which is where they should be. If you ask me, if you're corrupt, that's where you need to be. Make sure, guys, while you're on here, if you enjoy the show, hit subscribe on the bottom, hit the little bell so you get alerted on your phone, and it lets you know that I'm live. I try to share the post on all the Facebook groups and in the Discord. As you can see, I got a new thing hanging up back here. I not only have the Blue Line flag, but we got this 50-pound bale of marijuana bale that was given to me after a seizure by a chief deputy from a particular agency. So put that up there. But make sure you hit subscribe and hit that little bell. Appreciate the support. So let's continue with the news. Let's see what else we got here. Police news. Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota is defending Minneapolis's proposal to slash $8 million from the police budget. Of course. Let's see if there's anything else interesting. Seattle homicide rates are at the highest in over a decade as the city council cuts the police budget by 18%. Shocker. Let's see. Seattle area program will pay victims restitution using taxpayer dollars while some of the criminals avoid jail time. What is going on? Mother of a slain Florida teen shot at his burial service. Now, I don't like that headline because it says the teen was shot by a sheriff's deputy earlier this month. And she was shot at his funeral. So I don't like how they put mother of slain Florida teen. That kind of insinuates that he was murdered when we don't know the situation there. He may have resisted, did something, who knows. Looks like a police vehicle is set on fire in Portland. They're considering it arson. Yeah. Los Angeles County DA's security officer fires at carjacking suspect near her home. Says LAPD is probing and investigating the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office security guard who was guarding the DA, Jackie Lacey, and fired at a suspect who was allegedly trying to carjack the security team. So remember, these are the people that want to take away funding for the police, but have funding for their own personal security. Completely logical. Totally logical. All right, let me get back down here to the Faded Blue Line chat in the Discord. All right, so that's the news for today. We're 12 minutes into the episode. We got some people watching. I appreciate it. Make sure you guys get involved in the chat. By all means, get involved in the YouTube chat. Get involved on the Discord chat. If you want to get on the show, go to the Discord Faded Blue Line text channel. Tell me you want to get on the show. And I will drag you down to the text chat. And you can talk to me and get on the show. All right, so we're going to move on. Today's topic, indicators. Do they really work? What do you guys think? How many of you, raise your hands, have been to a class where they teach indicators, and that's the basis that they say to find your reasonable suspicion and determine what vehicles you want to search? Do you believe that they work? What is your opinion on them? Have they worked for you? We're going to go into that today, and it's probably not going to make me very many friends in some of the training side of things, but we're going to do it anyway. So indicators, do they work? Just because you have these indicators, does it insinuate or does it indicate that you are involved in smuggling or criminal activity? Well, let's look at some things when it comes to indicators. Who puts out the bulletins and makes the lists of indicators? Think about that for a second. Are you the one who did it? Probably not. Number crunchers, analysts. These are people hired by fusion centers, by the federal government, by agencies. They are number crunchers. The technology people who look for statistics. They look for numbers, things that correlate with each other. These are the people who are putting these lists together that are sending them out for training purposes. Very, very highly unlikely They're road people. They're people that are working the road. Does it mean that they're wrong? We'll get into that. Like I said, I'm probably not going to make any friends today, but we are talking about indicators. And who makes them? Number crunchers. The bulletins you get out are likely from some kind of fusion center, something like Block, Epic, HIDA, other organizations where they're analysts who sit and look at intelligence, information. They look at data that's coming in, and they've tried to correlate that data to something, and they create these bulletins and these training programs. So why is this a problem? Is it a problem? We're getting there. So, flaws in the system. Are there flaws in the system? Personally, I think there are some severe flaws in the system, especially when it comes to indicators. So let's ask ourselves one of the following, or ask yourself the following questions. Have you or do you call the following places? Epic. How many of you have called Epic? I call Epic rather frequently when I'm on traffic stops sometimes. Good information you could get from Epic. When I get a seizure, I will call Epic and report that seizure. How many of you all call Block? For those who don't know what that is, it's the Blue Lightning Operations Center. It's mainly focused on the southeastern United States. Very similar to Epic. How many of y'all have a local fusion center, maybe a regional fusion center in your area? Do you call them? Do you query them, maybe on a website? DICE, all these things. These are places that you usually try to get intelligence from. They're places that you usually report your seizures to. So how many of you have done that? I've done it numerous times. Is there something wrong with doing that? No, not necessarily. Nothing wrong with it at all. But here's where it comes into being a problem when it comes to indicators and how you operate and do your job on the side of the road. So let's look at this. Let me blow this up so I can read it. When you call to report a seizure and you tell them your indicators or anything like that, what happens? What happens at that point? So let's look at it this way. You're the analyst sitting at Epic, and you got a call from Officer 1 who's reporting a seizure. Officer 1 says, hey, I had this vehicle stopped. I seized drugs. I saw that this vehicle had a single key. The vehicle had air fresheners in the car. It was a third-party vehicle. I ended up searching the vehicle. I found, 50 pounds of dope. So that analyst puts all that information in, puts it in. It gets sent up to other analysts who put it all together. Later on, officer number 2 calls in. Hey, I was out with this car. I found a load of dope. I want to make a report and report the seizure. When I made that stop, I had a single key in the ignition, air freshener in the car, third-party vehicle, searched the car, found dope. So the analyst who takes the call puts it in there. That's the information they put in there. Then officer number 3 calls for the night. Hey, I want to report a seizure I just made. Okay, what do you have? Well, I found this amount of dope while I had the car stopped. Saw that it had a single key, had air fresheners in the car. It was a third-party vehicle. Asked consent to search, got consent to search, found dope. So, Intel analyst puts it up. Well, all of that data gets sent over weekly, monthly, daily, whatever it may be, and they get a report of all this stuff. And these analysts may be sitting there going, these officers keep reporting a single key. They keep reporting that there's air fresheners in the car, and they keep reporting that these vehicles are third-party vehicles. It must be a trend. You know what? It's a trend. This is what they're doing. 100% of the stops that they're calling us on have these things. Let's make it a bulletin. Let's send it out to training. Let's send it out as the next training for Epic. Let's send it out as this. Let's send it out to bulletins to this fusion center, this fusion center. Put it on the email list. Send it out, send it out, send it out. This is a new trend. Well, great. Everybody gets all this stuff in their emails. They're like, oh, awesome, new trends. Sweet, new trend email, new bulletin came out from Epic or whatever. I want to check it out. Let's see what it is. oh, this is the new thing. They're catching loads Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and they're seeing single key ignitions, they're seeing air fresheners in their third party vehicles. That's what we need to look for. Every one of those we find, when they have those, it's likely that it's going to be a load. These guys are running dope this way, and I'm going to stop it and I'm going to search it. Well, here's the problem with that. Police officers are not calling these fusion centers, Epic, Block, all these places. They are not calling these places for negative results. They're only calling them when they get a seizure. So it flaws the data. Look at it this way, and if you're looking at the screen, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If Officer 1, who was the officer who called in and reported their seizure, stopped and searched 100 cars that week based on the indicator methodology, and out of those 100 cars, one car yielded results. One. What's the percentage of accuracy of those indicators? What to them, to the officer, 1% of their stops based on the indicator method yielded results. 1%. Out of the 100 stops they made and searched based on seeing indicators, one of them yielded results. 1%. But are they reporting the other 99%? No, you're not calling Epic every time you stop a car, search it, and don't find anything. Literally 1% of the officers' stops based on indicators, and their searches based on indicators yielded positive results of criminal activity. 1%. However, to the intel analyst who only fielded one call from that particular officer that week to report a seizure, to them, 100% of the reports that that officer submitted had those indicators. You do that for Officer 2, you do that for Officer 3. Now, to the intel analyst, holy cow, all 3 officers have reported the same thing. This is a trend. All of them are getting and seeing the same things. But what the intel analyst is not seeing is the 99 other cars that they searched based on those indicators and didn't find a dang thing. These are the things they don't tell you about indicators. Like I said, I'm not going to make friends by this video, and that's fine. I'm keeping it real. I'm telling you what I see. Officers are not reporting negative results, which flaws the data. Analytics, an analytical person, an intel analyst, bases their information off statistics, data, numbers. Numbers is science. Numbers is science. You can't go do a science project back when you were in college or high school and base it on flawed data. They have control groups, they have all kinds of things. You can't just go throw things out there and say that this is correct. But that's what's happening. Officers are not reporting their negative results, and that is flawing the system. And what it does is it ends up being training for people, and it ends up wasting a lot of people's time, because you're out there going, "Ooh, I stopped this car. It's got 3 air fresheners in it. It's got a single key, and they don't own it. I'm searching it. 3 indicators there. Boom, boom, boom. It's got to be here. I search it." You go out there, you search it, you waste your time sweating your butt off in the summer or freezing your butt off in the winter. You wasted your time, you wasted the passenger's time or the driver's time, and you got nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because they don't explain to you why indicators are important and why that indicator plays into the factors of what you're looking at, because it comes down to tradecraft. And if you're looking at only indicators and not looking for tradecraft and not reading behavior and not doing your interviews, you're getting nowhere. Nothing's going to happen. You're probably sitting there right now, some of you scratching your head going, is this why I'm not hitting loads? Is this why it's not working out for me? Probably. This is definitely probably a considerable factor as to why you're not hitting loads. There's other factors involved when it comes to that, but this is a pretty serious issue. Officers are not reporting their negative results, and that causes training to come out there that's flawed. It's not full information. And you're going out there and you're wasting your time, you're wasting other people's time. So, getting back to it, remember the following why I say it's the myth of the indicator. Indicators can be manipulated, they can be changed, no matter what. Criminal enterprises know just as much about us, if not more, than we know about them, and they know how we operate. And guess what? We have to follow rules. They don't. They don't. They can change anything about their operation, about their tradecraft, to conceal the things that they know we're looking for. Indicators. For those who are not watching my sarcasm on the video, finger quotes, indicators. They will counter those techniques. Just like any other operation, whether it be military, law enforcement, whatever it is, you get intelligence or counterintelligence on something and you want to counter that, you want to do the opposite. You want to change. If they know you're going to do something a particular way, you do it a different way. You don't keep doing the same thing. That's how you get caught. You can change indicators. They can be manipulated at any time. I made a comment the other day on a particular post. Somebody had taken a picture of a bunch of air fresheners and said, basically was kind of making fun of the indicator method, saying if you see this and you search, I don't even remember what was basically being said, but it was kind of making fun of if you see a felony forest and you search, you don't even know why you're doing it. And you're probably wrong. And the person ended up, it was a picture of the felony forest in their own patrol car. People have air fresheners. And I made the comment, I haven't seen a felony forest or a Jesus Malverde or any of the patron saints in a seizure in probably a decade. And, the original poster and some other people agreed, laughed, whatever. Somebody else messaged me saying maybe that's why you're not successful or something like that. And I'm like, really, man? or something along like maybe if you stopped looking for the odor of marijuana and started looking for the odor of air fresheners, you'd find it. And I'm sitting there like, well, very few of my seizures in the last 15 years have ever been based on odor. Very few. So the one thing that they cannot change, out of all the things, they could change the type of car, they could change their route, they could change it being a third-party vehicle, they could change the license plate stuff, they could change not having air fresheners, they could put an air freshener in it, they could change it to being like looking like it's brand new inside to looking like it's lived in. They could put 4 people in it, 6 people in it, 1 person in it. They could change all these factors, all of them. But the one thing that they cannot change is human behavior. And that's why we developed the evading honesty system and really harp on the fact that you need to interview these people to get reasonable suspicion. Do not base your reasonable suspicion off of indicators. It's just going to end up in failure. Yes, you will eventually hit one. Eventually. Just like you go scratch off 1,000 scratch off tickets, one day you'll find one that is worth probably $50 out of the $1,000 you spent on $1 tickets. It's out there. That's just like the mentality that if you go, make high volume traffic stops, that's how you do this. Yes, it works. It works. I cannot deny that high volume traffic stops work. They work well. If you go out there and just stop everything that moves for legal violations, you're gonna find trouble. That's just a game of odds. You go and throw cash at the lottery all the time for years or months or whatever. You're gonna hit cash 3 or you're gonna hit play 4 or whatever you might hit the mega ball. Who knows? You never know. But it's a game of odds. If you keep throwing stuff at it and doing that, you're gonna get it. Now, if you knew the secret to finding the winning ticket without having to buy 1,000 tickets, wouldn't you want to do that? What, isn't that the way you'd want to operate? Why spend all that time scratching off 1,000 tickets when you could scratch off 20 and find it in that 20? You do that through behavior. You do that through learning tradecraft. You do that through learning technology and utilizing all of them. Now, does a single key come into play when it comes to tradecraft? Yes, it does. A single key means dick to me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Means nothing to me. Hell, most of my seizures have had more than one key. But what does one key tell you about that vehicle? What does it tell you? Think about it. One key may mean that this is not their normal vehicle. This may be a fleet vehicle. That's what we're looking at. Is it a fleet vehicle here? Is this a situation where, how many of you all on your key for your vehicle, your personal vehicle, have your house key, might have your family's house key, maybe a P.O. box key, an office key, something, all these things on your keys, personal stuff. If you shared a vehicle with somebody from an office, maybe you're work for a company and you share a fleet vehicle, do you think that everybody's personal home key is going to be on that keychain for that vehicle, the fleet vehicle? No. That's why the single key comes in. That's when it comes in, knowing the tradecraft behind why there's a single key. You can't just go, ooh, there's a single key. Indicator 1, check. That does not work. Interviewing them and trying to dig into the story as to why there's one key. Where did you get this car? How long have you had it? How much did you pay for it? Where did you buy it? Was it a dealer? Was it a person? When you start seeing deceptive behaviors regarding the vehicle, you can start to narrow down. This is looking like tradecraft regarding the single key. This is a fleet vehicle. It's not their personal vehicle. That is when the single key comes into play, or the air quotes indicator. Third party vehicle. Let's look at that. Not very often do I see third party vehicles being a factor very much anymore in larger scale operations. They caught on to that a long time ago. And now what they do, and this is why we teach what we call the doper shuffle, they change the tags a lot on these higher end operations, and that's part of the tradecraft. But a third party vehicle ties back into the single key. If you're a driver, you are just a driver. Think of like a truck driver. You are working for a company that constantly puts you in different trucks. Your boss comes to you and says, hey, I need you to get in fleet vehicle 1. Here's the key. You need to take this vehicle from Houston to Atlanta, make a delivery, come back from Atlanta to Houston, bring back fleet vehicle 1. Now do you see how the single key and the third party vehicle come in based on tradecraft? It all mends together, not singly. When people talk about the totality of the circumstances, they're not talking about, ooh, they have this. They have a single key, they have air fresheners, they have a third party vehicle, and they're coming from Houston going to Atlanta. That's not what they're talking about. They're talking about how it all mends together into tradecraft, and you have to learn that. So, do I think indicators mean something? Yes, I do. When they're taken as a whole and looked at and compared with tradecraft, and based on the story, the behavior that you're seeing in the interview, when they're being deceptive, what they're being deceptive about. Do I think the indicator methodology of searching cars because you have a checklist of indicators and they met 5 of those checklist indicators works? No, I don't think it does. I spent a long time in interdiction at the beginning of my career stopping everything that moved. Everything. I didn't care what the violation was. Stop, 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 stop. Search, 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 search. All the time. They had a single key. They had air fresheners. They're out of Texas. Going to the curb, getting searched. They had a single key. They had an air freshener, third-party vehicle out of Miami. Going to the curb, getting searched. Didn't find a damn thing. Didn't find a damn thing. Nothing. Until I started learning tradecraft. That is why we teach Evading Honesty and Smugglers Inc. And they're 2 totally separate classes. And you need both of them. Because you can learn the tradecraft all day long. Learn this is how they operate. This is how to select a vehicle. But if you don't know how to interview, you can't figure out if you have the right one on the side of the road. And even if you do have the right one on the side of the road, if you can't build your reasonable suspicion up, your case is out the door. It's done. Then, part 3. You have to know how to search a damn car. You have to know how to search for a compartment, not a baggie of dope in the glove box or underneath the seat. This is how it all ties together. This is why Sean teaches and preaches in his videos all the time that this is like a high level of special operations. You can't go out there not knowing what you're doing and expect to be successful. It takes a higher level of training. It takes a higher level of activity. It takes a higher level of analytical mindset. You have to be able to do all these things. And on top of that, when you get a load, you have to figure out how to process it, how to investigate it, how to do the crime scene of it, how to do the follow-up on it. You have to do all these things. So not only are you a traffic cop, not only are you a psychologist on the side of the road doing an interview, now you're a mechanic because you got to figure out how to find the compartment, get to the compartment. You got to know enough about cars. When you find it, now you got to be an investigator. Now you got to be a crime scene technician. Now you got to be a follow-up investigator. There are a billion things that come to this, and it all takes experience and it takes training. It's not just go to a class, learn the indicators, and you're going to be successful. That's not how this works. It takes forever to figure this game out. Now, are there people who are just naturally good at it? Absolutely. There's people out there in anything that are just naturally can read people, can look at the way people are driving, how they're acting when they drive by. They know about cars, or they maybe don't even know much about cars, but they know when something looks wrong, and they're just naturally good at this. There are people like that, but most people are not like that. You have to learn it, and it takes a long time. I started law enforcement in 2001. I hit my first load by accident in 2005. I did not know what I was doing and get into full-time interdiction until about 2010, 2011-ish. That's when I started working interdiction seriously and kind of starting to figure out what I was doing. 2012, 2013, really started developing at that point. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of effort. I spent countless days, hours, dollars of my own money, of my own time, traveling to learn. I would fly all over the country on my own money, on my own vacation days, getting my own crappy hotels, drive 1,000 miles at a time, spending my own money to go to classes. I drove to Atlanta. I stayed in the Motel 6 in downtown Atlanta where there was a strip club across the street and they were shooting at each other that night. But I did it to go to school. I flew to Mississippi, drove to Mississippi, flew to this place, flew to that place, drove here, drove there, all to get trained by as many people as I possibly could. And I'm a firm believer that you should get trained by as many people as you possibly could. Not only because it's great for them, it's great for you to get the hours, it's great for everything, but every single person does it different. Everybody has a particular project that they're working on with their set of tools, and it works for them. And the tool worked for them in a particular situation, but in the situation you're in, You might not need that tool. You might need this tool. You might need that tool. But guess what? One day, you're going to come across a situation like they had. And guess what? You might need the tool that they had. You might need their technique and their tool to figure it out. That's how you do it. You got to learn as many techniques as you can. But I promise you, if you are searching cars out there, looking, and basically you are selecting your vehicles to search solely on indicators and that's it, you are losing the game. That is what I have to say about indicators. Do they work? Yes. When taken into, when you factor them into everything, the story, the deception, tradecraft, yes, the indicators become a factor in this because I'm looking at certain things, and it's not the things that are the indicators, it's how they integrate into the story and how they integrate into the situation you're looking at. That's when they become an indicator. If you're looking at it as just they have a single key, they have an air freshener that came from Texas, they must be a smuggler, and this is why I'm searching it because they have these three things, you're going to lose the game. You're losing. Anybody have any comments or questions? I see we got quite a few people watching right now. That's awesome. Thank you guys. Get on the chat real quick. Get on the YouTube chat. Let me know what you think. Do you guys think that the indicator methods work? Do you think that they're good techniques? What would you rather do? Would you rather stop 1,000 cars and search every single one of them, wearing your butt out, or figure out how to select 10 cars and 2 of them have some suspicious activity going on? What would you rather do? Search 1,000 cars and come up with nothing? Or I'm sorry, let's say search 1,000 cars to get the one car that has the dope load, or search 10 cars to get the one car that has dope load. Just saying, there's ways to do this based on behavior, based on tradecraft, based on technology. Any of those 3 work. Any of them. And it's very, very much has to do with, it has a lot to do with where you're at, the type of criminal organizations you're dealing with, the level, the highways you work, the region you're in. Depends on a lot on how you operate. And all 3 ways work, whether it be driving behavior or whether it be technology. They all work. All of them. I'm a technology guy. I use a lot of technology to pick what vehicles I want to stop. Why? Because that's how I do it. That's how I know how to do it. That's how I've been successful. Technology's there that helps you figure out which cars to stop. Why not utilize it? Does that mean that the guy working in the Midwest who has no technology and uses driving behavior is less successful? Absolutely not. They mastered that craft. They mastered reading people as they go by. I mastered reading technology tied in with how they go by. So Bradley J31 says, do you like lone occupants better than, say, 2-3 occupants? Do you split them up or interview them separately? I tend to like vehicles with very few occupants. I have hit a load with 4 occupants in a vehicle, but most of my loads have been 1 to 2 max. The 4 was kind of like a cover. Had I think it was 5 actually. Had a child in there and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I tend to like less people in the car. That's less people to screw up a story. It's less people to split money with, making the load. If I saw a vehicle go by with 6 people in it, more than likely I'm going to say that's probably a human smuggler. Do I interview them separately? Yes. When I approach a vehicle, I tend to walk up to the vehicle and hold on one second. I will talk to the driver and what the hell? Hold on one second, guys. There we go. I will talk to the driver, ask for their license, and I will get them out of the car, especially if they have a passenger. One, I don't want to have them planning to jump me or anything like that, or whatever it may be. It's officer safety. 2, I want to divide them because I'm going to talk to the driver. I'm going to get their story, read their behavior, figure out what they're up to, and then, oh, guess what? I need to go get the insurance and registration for the vehicle. It's a good reason to re-engage the passenger. Go up there. Hey, can you look for that registration for me? Man, where are you guys going? And see if what they tell you compared to what the driver told you already. And then you could go back knowing that they have two different stories and start interviewing the driver, knowing certain factors are wrong, and you can start morphing your interview around the two different stories and kind of. I have actually done this to people. I will get a story from one person. I will go up to the passenger. I will get the information from them that they want to tell me, which completely conflicts with what the driver told me. I will come back to the driver mid questioning while writing my warning, ask them, so, hey, you did this, right? Yeah. Which I'm asking them what the passenger told me. And they're confirming it, which conflicts with what they just told me, and they don't even realize they did it. And it's awesome to do. To play little mental games like that. But it builds your reasonable suspicion. You now have reasonable suspicion. Do you need, well, I don't know about all states, but in a lot of places, all you need to hold somebody for a dog is reasonable suspicion. That's it. If you can articulate reasonable suspicion that they're lying to you, conflicting stories, whatever it may be, and they deny consent, hold them. If you can articulate it and you're confident, do it. I've done it. Never run into a problem. I've held people for 45 minutes waiting for a dog. But guess what? I had reasonable suspicion. I articulated it very well in my report, and I didn't have a single problem. Worked out well. Any other questions? Let's see. Let me check the Discord, see if anybody's commenting in there. Those of you who are on the Discord, I know since we've secured the channel, are you guys able to see the unverified channels now? The Faded Blue Line channel, or do I need to make a Faded Blue Line channel on... Sorry. In the verified channels? Like, if you guys cannot see the Faded Blue Line text and voice channel, let me know. Okay. We can see the unverified. Awesome. That's great. So I don't need to make more channels. All right. Are you narrowing? Bradley J is asking again, are you narrowing your cars down based on driving behaviors alone or type of vehicle? Been on a dry spell, and I'm going back to just stopping tons of cars a day. I use mostly technology in looking for tradecraft and driving behavior. I put it all together. And I talked about this on a podcast a couple episodes ago. If you're basing everything off of driving behavior, it works. It works fantastic. The problem with using driving behavior only, if you have access to technology, is if you're only using driving behavior, it does not differentiate between a smuggler or somebody who just has a suspended license or somebody who is speeding. So you will get driving behavior across the board from anybody who has some, and it's hard to narrow down for the vehicles you're looking for. But I have access to a lot of databases, a lot of license plate reader databases, and I can start looking for the tradecraft in the license plate, and I can start looking for the tradecraft in their driving patterns, and narrowing it down to that. So if I see driving behavior, especially when it's something that I can tell has been on a long journey, I will look at those other things and go, this is probably somebody who lives local based on the fact that their license plate reads are only here in this area for the last 6 months. Or, every week this vehicle's going across country, back and forth, or every 2 weeks or something like that. And I can start to narrow down what I'm looking for that way. If you're in a dry spell, so there's two thought processes that go on there. Yes, stop a ton of cars. You will come across a felony case eventually, but you're going to bust your butt for it. And the more you bust your butt for it, and the more you're not hitting it while busting your butt, the more you get down about it. So it kind of they feed off each other, and it causes that spiral and that that snowball effect where you keep searching and keep stopping and keep searching and nothing, and you get more and more aggravated, and then you start just getting burnt out from doing so much and not being successful. I have found that when I sit back and just don't care, I'm more successful. Have I been through times when I've gotten upset that I haven't hit something in a while? Sure, absolutely. Um, but I would find that when I'd stop caring and getting aggravated and just started doing my thing, doing what I know how to do, it will come. Um, I also have access to LPR. The only problem is my area is thick with rentals, and it's hard to know if they have had the car across the country. Um, I'm also a road and have to write tickets to please the brass. That sucks. Uh, so yes, I see a lot. Okay, all right. I've worked interdiction in three separate areas. Florida, which it doesn't get much more rental cars than Florida. Mississippi, which I didn't. I mean, we'd see them, but I didn't really mess with them too much. And Texas, and I'm here in the just between Austin and San Antonio, and we have a ton of rental cars on I-35. Um, I have not been a huge fan of stopping rental cars because I tend to try to look for higher level stuff. Not to say that higher level stuff isn't in rental cars, but it's a lot easier to look for trade craft in personally owned vehicles than a rental car to me. Now, are there highways where people can be extremely successful working rental cars? Hell yeah. Go work I 40 or I 80 or I 70 or any of those places coming from California, Oregon, or Washington looking for these people driving the rental cars across the country with a big trunk full of weed. Not, that's in those areas, heck yeah, work the hell out of them. I just have not tended to care for rental cars because working in Florida, every other car was a rental car in the interstate because it's a tourist destination. Out of all the areas I've ever worked interdiction, um, Florida is by far the hardest. The reason I say that, okay, I won't say Florida's the hard. I-10 across Florida, not as hard. I-75 is a nightmare, or I-4 or I-95, they're nightmares. And the reason why is you are going to the end of the road. Like the riskiest place for these people when they're traveling between point A and point B is somewhere in the middle. Because if you're coming from South Texas going to North Carolina, in the middle is where you have to worry because you're farther away from home and you're far away from your destination, and you have to have some kind of story as to why you're going across that far. And it's in you stand out like a sore thumb. A Texas plate or North Carolina plate stands out like a sore thumb in Mississippi, where an Alabama plate in Mississippi is not suspicious. So think of it in Florida. Florida is the end of the line, and it's a peninsula that's funneled down, and it's all tourists or people who move there for the winter, or college kids that all want to go to Florida to college. So everything is out of state, and it's all filtered in those particular highways, 75 and 95, and it's a nightmare to work. I-35 is almost as much of a nightmare. It's tough because of the level of traffic. The only time I could work on 35 is at night and be real successful. So majority of it is weed and rentals. Yep. Have run across poundage, fentanyl, in a California, BWPOV, Western Kansas, I-70. Thanks for the tips. See, Kansas. All right, so you have north and southbound traffic, and your east and westbound traffic. Your north and southbound traffic, more, and I'm just guessing here, in Kansas would be your stuff coming from South Texas, going up to north of you, whether it be Minnesota, places like that. Whereas your east-west traffic is going to be your California, your Oregon, your Colorado people taking hydro or THC products back and forth. Am I right on Kansas? I've never worked Kansas, but I'm just knowing what I know about the interdiction game. I would assume based on those particular highways, that's how it would work. And you'd have your fentanyl and your other stuff coming out of California as well, east and west. But Kansas, I mean, I just Kansas is very similar to like when I worked in Mississippi. I would be looking for the stuff outside my area. In Mississippi, I pretty much all but ignored Alabama, and I pretty much all but ignored Louisiana because they neighbor, and It's not but an hour and a half drive, 2 hour drive to either state in Mississippi. So that's not out of the ordinary for somebody to travel that far for just a day trip. But when you saw the California, the Colorado, the Arizona, the Texas, North Carolina, Jersey, these Massachusetts, all these states in Mississippi, um, they're mid journey and a long journey. And let's face it, not a whole lot of people are going to Mississippi. No offense, Mississippi guys, but it's just the truth. They're usually traveling through Mississippi unless they have family there. Um, so much personal use marijuana from Colorado, it's annoying. Yeah, it sure is. All right, guys. I think we've covered everything today. Hopefully, I didn't offend too many people by saying that the indicator method is not my. I'm not a fan of it. So real quick, let's go back. Bolo, for you guys that are out there, Officer Safety Bolo was posted about an hour ago or a couple hours ago on the Discord. Robert Kenneth Martin, white male, 5'10", 210, hazel eyes, brown hair, out of South Carolina. He cut off his ankle bracelet and is on the run, and they believe he is armed with a Glock 30, a Taurus, and a AR-15 pistol. So be careful of him. He is wanted for murder and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. I do not see any vehicle information, so just be cautious if you come across this guy. Let me blow up his face for you guys so you guys can see him. There you go. Keep an eye open for this character here. Let's try to get him taken down. We had a bolo yesterday out of an escaped prisoner out of Georgia. I'm unsure if they got that one. So, a couple more things. On the Discord, coming soon, because the Discord is a very, very cool, unique, powerful system that you would never guess it was this awesome. Discord, to me, when I first got on Discord, it came across as, oh, this is just like AOL Instant Messenger, for those old enough to remember AOL Instant Messenger. But it's not. It actually does a lot of cool things, including allowing me to set up a classroom where I could get in there and give presentations and whatnot. So I'm working on an introduction to swipe and swap class. I'm working on an introduction to parcel interdiction. I'm also going to probably do an introduction to evading honesty for you guys. And Peter Butler from Mississippi DOT is going to teach a basic commercial vehicle enforcement class for the patrol officer, hour or two long, so you guys know just the basics of what you can use for probable cause to stop these trucks, how to talk to them, what papers they need, because a lot of officers are very intimidated by trucks because they don't know anything about them. So I got a hold of Peter yesterday. I said, hey man, why don't you put together a class to teach these guys what the basics of trucks? Commercial vehicle guys are awesome. They know all these crazy tricks and all these things about commercial trucks. Utilize them. So he's putting that together, and we're gonna do that. Bradley J is saying, do you have a link for the Discord? I sure do. Give me 1 second. I will put it up there for you. Invite people. Copy. All right, I'm gonna put this up for you guys in the chat. If you are not on the Discord and you're watching, click that Discord link. Download it if you don't have it. It is an app program you can put on your phone. And you have to get verified. So when you first get in there, you're going to see a channel that says Get Verified. Click on that. There's a video at the bottom of, you'll see a couple little things where it's telling you what to do. There's also a video down at the bottom. You click the link on the video, watch the video, it'll quickly tell you what to do, how to get verified. Once you are verified, that it basically creates like a service ticket for us to verify you. Once you do what you need to do in that ticket to get verified, it deletes it. It's gone. So there's no record of any of that stuff. It's gone forever. So you rest assured that your information is safe. And once you get verified, you have access to all kinds of stuff in Discord, including the classroom, which is coming soon. So that is coming soon. Again, Swipe and Swap, if you intend on taking it, here's your discount code, good through December 8th. So utilize that if you wish. Make sure I'm going to pop it off of the screen here in a second, and make sure that you go back and watch the video again if you need it. 20% off until December 8th, ossfirst.com. Here's the new schedule for Faded Blue Line podcast. Tuesday, 4 p.m. Central Standard, and Friday at 8 p.m. Central Standard. This is so that each of you, whether you are daytime or nighttime, will have the ability to watch the episodes and hear us. You know, some people may not be able to at 4, but may be able to at the 8 p.m. one. You can always go back and watch it again. So make sure you hit subscribe at the bottom, and subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate it. Hit that little bell so you know when I'm on, in case you miss the links. And let's keep this show going. It's getting more and more people watching, more and more people listening. I'd love to get some of you as guests on. So by all means, message me on the Discord or through Facebook, and let's get you on the show. The more people on the show, the better for everybody, because it makes the show a lot more interesting when I have people to talk to. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, be safe out there, and I am going to torture you with Christmas music. Take it easy, guys.